Welcome back to Personal Development Books here on Readology Review. I'm Emma, and joining me today, as always, is our resident book wizard, Ethan. Ethan, we're tackling a book that has truly revolutionized how many people think about self-improvement, James Clear's Atomic Habits. I'm really excited to get into this one.
Thanks, Emma. It's a fantastic choice. Atomic Habits is truly a game changer, not just because of the practical strategies it offers, but also for its profound insights into human behavior. It's one of those books that deserves a permanent spot on everyone's bookshelf, as one of the sources puts it.
I completely agree. So, Ethan, for those who haven't read it, what's the fundamental core message James Clear wants us to take away from Atomic Habits? What's the main idea here?
At its heart, Atomic Habits teaches us the surprising power of tiny changes. James Clear argues that remarkable results don't come from massive, earth-shattering improvements, but from countless small, seemingly insignificant shifts compounded over time. He illustrates this beautifully with the analogy of an airplane flying from Los Angeles to New York City. A mere 3.5-degree shift in heading at takeoff, barely noticeable, can lead you hundreds of miles off course, landing in Washington, D.C. instead of New York City. The same principle applies to our daily habits. A slight change in your routine can guide your life to a completely different destination over the span of moments that make up a lifetime.
That's such a clear visual. It makes you think about all those little decisions. And he even gives a powerful mathematical example of this, doesn't he?
He does. It's astounding how the math works out. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline nearly down to zero. This is why he calls habits the compound interest of self-improvement. Just like money multiplies through compound interest, the effects of your habits multiply as you repeat them. They might seem to make little difference on any given day, but their impact over months and years can be enormous. The book also gives the incredible example of the British cycling team who transformed from a century of mediocrity to dominating the Olympics and Tour de France within a decade purely by embracing this aggregation of marginal gains, improving everything by just 1%.
So it's about consistency, not intensity. But that brings me to a common problem people face. We often start strong with new habits, full of motivation, but then quickly give up. Why does James Clear say this happens? What is the valley of disappointment?
That's a crucial point. Clear identifies what he calls the plateau of latent potential, or the valley of disappointment. We often expect progress to be linear, but in reality, the results of our efforts are delayed. You might work out for a month and not see physical changes, or study a language for an hour tonight and still not be fluent. This lack of immediate, tangible results can be incredibly frustrating, leading most people to quit and slide back into old routines. He uses the analogy of an ice cube. It might be 25 degrees, and you slowly heat the room to 31 degrees, and nothing happens. But at 32 degrees, it melts. The work wasn't wasted, it was being stored. Breakthrough moments are often the result of many previous, seemingly invisible actions that build up potential. Patience is key.
That makes so much sense. It's about trusting the process. And speaking of process, one of the boldest claims in the book is to forget about goals, focus on systems instead. That sounds counterintuitive to everything we've been taught. Can you explain that distinction and why it's so important?
It's a powerful shift in perspective. Clear defines goals as the results you want to achieve, while systems are the processes that lead to those results. For example, winning a championship is a goal. How you recruit, practice, and manage your team is the system. He argues that if you completely ignored your goals and focused only on your system, you would still succeed. He outlines 4 key problems with a goals-first mentality. Winners and losers have the same goals. Everyone wants to win, but only some succeed. The goal itself isn't the differentiator, it's the system of continuous small improvements that leads to success. Achieving a goal is only a momentary change. Cleaning a messy room is a goal, but without changing the messy habits, the system that led to it, the room will soon be messy again. You're left chasing the same outcome because you never changed the system behind it. Goals are at odds with long-term progress. Many runners stop training after a marathon because the goal is gone. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game, but the purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is goalless thinking, focusing on endless refinement and continuous improvement. Ultimately, the book posits you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems.
That's such a profound statement, and it really shifts the focus from the outcome to the daily actions. It also brings us to another fascinating concept, identity. How does our identity play a role in habit formation, and why is it so crucial?
This is where the book really shines, delving into the deeper why behind our behaviors. Clear describes 3 layers of behavior change: outcomes, what you get; processes, what you do; and identity, what you believe. Most people focus on outcomes. For instance, I want to be skinny, outcome, and I'll stick to this diet, process. However, the most effective way to change your habits and for them to last is to focus on identity-based habits, starting with who you wish to become. It's the difference between saying, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit," when offered a cigarette, which implies you're still a smoker who's struggling, versus, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker," which signals a shift in self-identity. True behavior change is identity change. Your behaviors are usually a reflection of your identity. What you do is an indication of the type of person you believe you are, consciously or not. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you'll be to maintain habits associated with it. The goal isn't just to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. It's not to run a marathon, but to become a runner. The critical insight here is that your identity emerges out of your habits. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The more you repeat a behavior, the more you reinforce that identity. This leads to a simple 2-step process for changing your identity. Decide the type of person you want to be. Prove it to yourself with small wins. It's about understanding that you are continually undergoing micro-evolutions of the self.
That's a powerful way to frame it. Not just doing, but becoming. It seems like a more sustainable and deeply rooted approach.
Before we dive into the practical framework for building and breaking habits, we want to take a moment to encourage you, our wonderful listeners and viewers, to truly engage with the source material.
To support the author and publisher, we encourage you to purchase and read the full physical version of the book. James Clear's Atomic Habits is packed with even more insights, compelling stories, and detailed strategies than we can cover in one podcast. Trust us, it's worth the deep dive.
And if you'd like us to create a brief summary or review of a particular book, don't hesitate to leave a comment under this video. If we've read it, we'll definitely fulfill your request.
All right, Ethan, let's get back to it. James Clear gives us a very practical framework for implementing these ideas, which he calls the 4 laws of behavior change. Can you break down the habit loop and then walk us through these 4 laws?
Absolutely. The foundation of the 4 laws is the habit loop, which is a 4-step feedback loop that drives all our habits: cue, craving, response, and reward. Cue. This is a trigger that initiates a behavior. It's a bit of information that predicts a reward. For example, your phone buzzing. Craving. The motivational force behind every habit. It's the desire to change your internal state. You don't crave smoking a cigarette, you crave the feeling of relief it provides. Response. The actual habit you perform, either a thought or an action. Grabbing your phone to read the text. Reward. the end goal of every habit. Rewards satisfy your craving and teach your brain which actions are worth remembering, satisfying your craving to read the message. The brain runs through this cycle in a split second to automate solutions to recurring problems. Now, to influence this loop, Clear provides the 4 laws of behavior change. 1. Make it obvious. Awareness is the first step. Most of our habits are non-conscious. The habit scorecard helps you become aware by listing your daily habits and categorizing them as positive, negative, or neutral. Clarity is crucial. Vagueness hinders action. Use implementation intentions. I will, behavior, at, time, in, location. For instance, I will meditate for 1 minute at 7 a.m. in my kitchen. Habit stacking. Link a new habit to a current one using the formula after current habit, I will new habit. Like after I pour my morning coffee, I will meditate for 60 seconds. Environment design. Your environment is a powerful, invisible hand shaping your behavior. Make cues for good habits obvious. If you want to drink more water, place bottles in visible locations. Japanese manufacturing principles of lean production demonstrate removing waste and friction. Inversion for bad habits. Make it invisible to break bad habits. Reduce exposure to the cue. If you waste time on your phone, leave it in another room. 2. Make it attractive. Dopamine-driven feedback loop. Habits are dopamine-driven. Dopamine is released not just when you experience pleasure, but when you anticipate it. This anticipation motivates action. Temptation bundling. Pair an action you need to do with an action you want to do, like Ronan Byrne, who hooked his Netflix to his stationary bike so it would only play if he was cycling. Social norms or group influence. We are herd animals, deeply influenced by those around us. We imitate 3 groups: the close, friends and family, the many, the tribe, and the powerful, status and prestige. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. Reprogramming your brain. Associate hard habits with positive feelings. Instead of I have to wake up early for work, reframe it as I get to wake up early for work. 3. Make it easy. The law of least effort, humans naturally gravitate toward the option requiring the least work. Make good habits as convenient as possible. Reduce friction. Identify and remove obstacles. Place your gym on your commute route instead of off it. Japanese manufacturing principles of lean production demonstrate removing waste and friction. Prime the environment. Prepare your environment for future actions. Lay out workout clothes the night before. The 2-minute rule. When starting a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. This is about mastering the habit of showing up. Running a marathon becomes putting on your running shoes. Make it difficult. Inversion for bad habits. Increase friction to make bad habits impractical. Unplug the TV after each use, or remove social media apps from your phone. Automate habits. Use one-time choices or technology to lock in future behavior. Setting up automatic savings plans or using website blockers are examples. 4. Make it satisfying. Immediate rewards. We are more likely to repeat behaviors that are immediately satisfying. The human brain evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed ones. Cardinal rule of behavior change. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. Habit trackers. Provide clear visual evidence of progress, which is inherently satisfying. Don't break the chain. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, get back on track immediately. 1 mistake is an accident, 2 is a new habit. Accountability partner or habit contract. Introduce an immediate cost to bad habits. A habit contract is a verbal or written agreement with a punishment if you fail, signed with accountability partners. Knowing someone is watching can be a powerful motivator.
Wow, that's incredibly comprehensive, Ethan. Those 4 laws, with their inversions, really do provide a complete system. It's not just about willpower.
Exactly. It's about designing your environment and processes to work with human nature, not against it.
So, once someone has established good habits using these laws, what's the next step? How do you ensure you stick with them long term and continue to improve?
That's where the advanced tactics come in. Clear emphasizes that habits are necessary but not sufficient for mastery. You need habits plus deliberate practice equals mastery. The Goldilocks rule. To stay motivated, work on tasks of just manageable difficulty. These are challenges roughly 4% beyond your current ability. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. This keeps you engaged and in a flow state. Fall in love with boredom. Mastery requires practice, and practice often becomes boring. The greatest threat to success is not failure, but boredom. Professionals stick to the schedule, even when the mood isn't right. Amateurs let life get in the way. Reflection and review. Establish a system to remain conscious of your performance and make adjustments. This prevents complacency and helps you catch errors, like the Los Angeles Lakers' career best effort program under Pat Riley, which tracked and sought a 1% improvement from each player, helping them win back-to-back championships. And finally, keep your identity small. While identity is crucial, don't cling too tightly to one version of yourself. If your identity is too rigid, e.g., I'm an athlete, changing circumstances, like injury, can be devastating. Instead, redefine yourself flexibly. E.g., I'm the type of person who is mentally tough and loves a physical challenge. This allows you to adapt and grow.
That's an excellent way to wrap it up. It truly is an endless cycle of refinement and continuous improvement, as you mentioned earlier with systems.
Precisely. The secret to results that last is to never stop making improvements. It's remarkable what you can build if you just don't stop. Small habits don't just add up, they compound.
Even this has been an incredibly insightful review of Atomic Habits. You've really highlighted the core messages and practical value of the book. Thank you for sharing your knowledge.
My pleasure, Emma. It's a book that keeps on giving every time I revisit it.
And thank you, our listeners and viewers, for joining us on Personal Development Books. We hope this discussion has inspired you to explore the power of atomic habits in your own life. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Readology Review, and leave us a comment with your thoughts or book suggestions. See you next time.